Hey guys, thanks for coming back to my channel. This video is going to be about all the places that I've been so far and the things you must see in each of those. So the first place that I went to for our study abroad experience was Sestriere. That was in the Italian Alps. Me and a couple of my friends went there to ski. It was beautiful mountains and not a lot of people know about it, so it wasn't that crowded, which was great. We were able to hire skis, boots, and poles from one of the local companies there. You're able to pretty much get any company on the website for Sestriere.com, or you can just go through a third party, and there's a ton of different companies there that sell ski boots, skis, and poles, which is really easy and pretty cheap. Then we also got our ski passes just out the mountain. There was no line, and I think it was maybe $100 per day, or maybe that was $100 in total. I'm not quite sure. But it was pretty good. It was pretty good for a ski trip, and it was really pretty. And we went in January, at the end of January, and we hired a car from the airport. We had to pick it up and drive there, and it was kind of scary. It was very icy and snowy, the mountains, and we got a smart car with 4 of us, so it was very crowded, but a really fun trip. So I totally recommend going to Sestriere. If you ever go to the Italian Alps, that's a great place to go. Then in the beginning of February, I went to Torino for a day trip with Bocconi University. That's the university I'm studying in Milan. And we went for the day, like I said, and we got there around 10:30. We took a city tour bus, and we were able to walk around, especially around Piazza San Carlo. That was really pretty. There was a nice church and some buildings around there, very famous. And also I ate really yummy chocolates. There's like a ton of chocolate stores, and I think Torino is known for their chocolate. That's what I heard, at least when I went there, and it was really good. Even if they're not known for it, it was really good. So I definitely recommend eating some there. In total, I spent like 25 euros for the whole day. So it wasn't that bad, and it was great to just walk around. It was a little cold because it was in February, but it was a really good one-day trip experience. Then I went to Venice a little later in February. It was still a little cold, but that was one of my favorite cities because I love seafood, and so I definitely recommend getting any seafood platter that you can get with spaghetti or just regular seafood or seafood salad, anything like that. Like I got mussels and clams seafood pasta, and it was amazing. It was one of the best foods that I got in Italy so far, and that was amazing and just so yummy. Also, I really recommend going to St. Marco's Square and St. Marco's Basilica. That's really interesting, especially learning about the history behind it, because there's so many different cultures and different architectures all in that one basilica, and all very crazy, but somehow it works together, and it's really, really pretty, especially right on the shoreline too, and the ocean, and you can see the other island on the other side when you're in that piazza, in that square. I stayed in a hostel that I found on hostelworld.com. I found all of my hostels through that website. I think it's the best bet because they're very reliable, and they tell you all the information for that hostel, and it gives you all of the different choices for if you want clean hostel or cheap hostel or really expensive kind of nice hostel. And for those people who don't know, a hostel is a place for solo or a few travelers that want to meet new people, get in different activities like pub crawls or free walking tours, or just a great way to meet new people, maybe even free breakfast. And it's pretty much like hotels, but for young, fun, adventurous people. And hopefully I'm one of those people. So I was really lucky enough to stay in those hostels, especially in Venice and all of my other different places that I've been so far. So I went to the Rio de Camarillo, I think that's how you pronounce it, for a water show on Saturday when I was in Venice, and that was really pretty. And honestly, Venice is just great if you just walk around and you find little streets that no one's at, because the island itself is 80% of it is not really touristy, but only like the Rialto Bridge and St. Marco's Square is like really where the tourists are at. So if you just kind of get away from that, then it's perfect to just see the city and the history and just kind of get lost, because even if you try to not get lost, you will get lost because the streets are so small. But it's such a great place, so I totally recommend it, especially in the colder times. So it doesn't smell that bad, because I've heard that once people go in the summer, it smells really bad. Then after that, I went to Rome, and oh my gosh, Rome was my favorite in Italy actually so far. Even though I do live in Milan, Rome was my favorite. I went in the beginning of March, and I stayed in the Yellow Hostel. That's also, I also found it at hostelworld.com, and that was a really great hostel because it had a bar right next to it. It had the hostel in there, of course, a kitchen, and then also like a gelato store right next door, and a restaurant too. So it was like a little square for the hostel. And so everyone that stayed in the hostel went to those different places. So it was really easy to meet people. Also, they did like free walking tours and pub crawls, which was great. Then I made sure to definitely go to the Vatican museums, which was amazing. And I'm Catholic, so that was just holy grail for me. And also the St. Peter's Basilica, which was amazing too. That I spent around 3 hours in the Vatican museums and around like an hour in St. Peter's Square and Basilica. So it was just really cool to walk through. I got the skip the line pass for the student, so it was around $12 euros, excuse me, for me. And the Basilica was also free actually, so there's no payment for that. But I would recommend to you to go into the Vatican City first and see the Sistine Chapel, and then exit through the Sistine Chapel to the St. Peter's Basilica, so you skip the line. And then also I did the Heart of Rome walk, which I followed Rick Steves, my man. He's a great travel agent who tells you all the little tips and tricks on what to do in each city, especially in Italy or all around Europe. And so I followed his audio tour around Europe, around Rome, where I saw the Pantheon, the Trevi Fountain, the Spanish Steps. Also, I saw the Colosseum, because you can't miss that when you go to Rome. And I was able to go inside the Colosseum for a student ticket. I think it was maybe around 14 euros, so it wasn't that bad, and I spent around an hour and a half there, and it was really pretty also. And I also saw the Roman Forums after the Colosseum, because it's right next to the Colosseum, and that was beautiful. Unfortunately, I didn't have too much time there because I didn't know that it closed right before sunset, so I would recommend staying there for 2.5 hours because it was amazing. I took a lot of pictures, and it felt like you were really in Rome's history. And then also the Imperial Forums walk, that's a really good one too if you have extra time. Definitely get gelato and pizza because you're in Italy. If that's the only location you're going to in Italy, definitely get that because Italy has the best food. And I also went to a church on Sunday, Santa Maria Church. That was beautiful. Good mass there. You could also go to the St. Peter's Basilica, I believe, for mass too. I saw a ton of chairs out there on the square. I think maybe someone was doing a special mass, but you'd have to look into that beforehand. And then I departed from the train station and went back to Milan. So that was Rome, Venice, and Sestriere, one of my first trips in Europe. And now I have a second video to explain all the other trips that I've been on, so make sure to go check it out. It's in my channel, and hopefully you enjoyed this one and you'll go and watch the other one and enjoy that one too. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.